The Doctor Is In is a co-production of Ave Maria Radio and EWTN Radio and carried across the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
You want some bad news, Michael?
No.
What are you asking me?
You're the guru of the gray matter. I figured if anybody had it, you'd have the answer.
I can't give you any direction.
I think I'm going to have to change this channel. I'm sorry.
You're completely wrong.
I refuse to be wrong on 2 calls in a row.
Tell me I'm spot on or tell me I'm crazy and I'll get out.
I have no idea.
I have a 6-month-old, so we'll be raising him according to Dr. Ray.
Talk about being a winner.
So, you want my question?
You ain't making any sense.
You're absolutely right. I just needed confirmation.
So what are you going to do about it, Dawn?
I'm calling you.
Now, from the studios of Living Bread Radio Network in Canton, Ohio, the hometown of Mother Angelica, here's Dr. Ray.
I'm trying. I am. I'm reading those marriage books. You know, they all emphasize communication, or whatever. So last night, I'm figuring I'm being pretty attentive. My wife says, Raymond, are you even listening to me? And I thought to myself, that's a funny way to start a conversation. Well, anyway, I took an informal survey. Yeah. It said 50% of people are unhappy in their marriages. Yeah, that's a survey I took when I got home. Good to have you here, Dr. Ray. Appreciate it very much. Well, now I just noticed I'm looking at the phone, and my son, who is going to soon be 28, is calling me. Now, it's 3 minutes after the hour here on The Doctor Is In, a show I've been doing for 20 years. So I started this show approximately when he was 8 years old. Now, I've been on the air between 1 and 2 p.m. Eastern for 20 years. He's calling me. Now, I would probably have to remind him, Pete, did you know I do a radio show? Oh, yeah. When's that on, Dad? Tell you, Profit Without Honor. 877-573-7825 if you want to show me a little honor, if you'd like to call in. Now, I know, saying that number one time that fast, nobody is going to go, I got it. 877. Got that part. 573. How do you remember that? 573. Oh, I'm just getting a call here. Well, let's see. Okay. Phone just buzzes. 573. I'm trying to think of something to encapsulate 573, but I can't. You know, a date, May of 73. I don't know exactly when that was. 573-7825. Now, that's easy enough to remember. In 1978, Teresa Tomeo was 25. That's easy enough, isn't it? So do the math. Okay, so 877-57 equal is a number. I would very much like to talk to you. You make the show. Questions about particulars in your life, circumstances, people, situations, frustrating, anxiety-producing, things that you aren't upset about and you're wondering, well, maybe I should be upset about them. Be more moral. I should be a little more disturbed. I've had those. I have had those. I've had people call in here, had clients saying, this really isn't bothering me at all. Maybe it should. The guy that's leaving his wife and 5 kids, and he's totally content with it. And it's not bugging him at all. But I do like to have you call in because you just make the show. Get a chance to badinage with you. I don't know if that's a verb. I think it's a noun, to express some badinage, which is playful banter is what it is. So, anything else here to tell you? No, don't think so. Going down to, good Lord permitting, Naples, Florida tomorrow. I was just there a couple weeks ago doing Living Right with Dr. Ray, the TV show, and getting a chance to go back. Going to speak with the legatus down in Naples, Florida. Okay. Okay, got it. All right. I'm a communicator. Professional. That's right. Highly trained professional communicator. Knowing how to reason, persuade, measure my words with children. I do this. I came home one day when my son Andrew was about 6. I was anxious to see him. My little buddy. I said to my wife, "Where's Andrew?" It's the middle of the day. He wasn't taking naps anymore. I'm taking naps. He's not taking naps. She said, "I sent him to his bed." What did he do? He lied to me. Huh. Now, be very careful. Guys, if you come home and your wife has been holding down the fort, handling the kids, there's been a problem, be careful you don't come across like, "I'm here now, it'll be properly solved. You did your best, little lady, but I'm here now. It'll be dealt with." Now, granted, if they want you to deal with it, which you should, go for it. But don't one up, is what I'm saying. Maybe you could humbly just ask, "What would you like me to do about this?" Well, I did ask that. That's my wife. What you want me to do anything, honey? Yes, go talk to him. Okay. So I went up. He's laying in bed and he's staring at the ceiling. "Andrew, look at me, son." So he did, turned his head. "Mom says you lied." "I don't remember." Now, I thought that he'd been watching politicians on C-SPAN. "Can you tell me your middle name, Senator?" "I'm sorry, I don't remember that." "What'd you have for breakfast this morning?" I can't recall. "Did you drive to work today?" "Oh, that's something that's out of my memory banks." You don't remember, Andrew. If Mom says you lied, then you lied, son. Now, I'm going to ask you. Now, if you lie to me, you got 2 lies. Did you lie? I still don't remember. But if Mom said I did, there's a pretty good chance I did. Now, I am not making this up. This was the interaction with this boy, who is now an engineer for the Department of Defense and was that way from the get-go. So I began. I talked about how important it is that people know you're trustworthy. That if you lie to people, they can't know if, in fact, you're telling the truth even when you're telling the truth because you've already lied. And I shared with him the times I lied to my dad and what it did and how long it took me to get the trust back. I was good. I was real good. I was pulling from graduate school every technique of communication that I knew. And I knew that our souls were linked. I knew that someday, God willing, 20 years hence, we'd be sitting at the family Thanksgiving table and talking about the things we're grateful for. And Andrew would say, "I'm going to tell you something I was grateful for. The time with me and Dad when I was 6 redirected my whole life." I knew it. It was the kind of impact I was going to have, you know. When I was done, I said, "Andrew, is there anything you want to ask me, son?" "Yeah." "Okay, sure, go ahead." "Dad, how come if my one eye looks at the ceiling, my other eye can't look at the floor?" Now, somewhere in my mini speech, I lost that boy. Can't be sure, but I think it was when I said, "Andrew, look at me, son." We lecture a lot as parents. We do. We think we pile word upon word upon word upon word. We're going to get through. They're going to recognize, "Oh, gosh, Dad, that does make such perfect sense." The problem is if they don't see this the way we see it, then especially with the younger kids, it's less likely you're going to get through. Now, you can try. You can go ahead. But you can recognize the look on their face. Tape number 107. When I was your age, I was a grateful child for what little I had. Or the Charlie Brown, remember? Holding the phone away. Apparently his mother was trying to talk to him, and you hear this wah, 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 wah. Now, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying recognize its limitations. Especially when you're trying to communicate with the child. And not something more unconditionally understanding. Like a Rottweiler. Or a Timberwolf. I learned my lesson. Kept my lectures a little shorter. And I was quite attuned to any subtle signs that the child was losing interest in what I was saying, when his one eye was looking at the ceiling and his other eye was trying to look at the floor. We will get to your calls here momentarily. Let me give you the number one more time so we can load them up. 877-57-EQUAL. That's the number. Thank you for joining me.
Do you own popular index mutual funds or ETFs? If so, you're automatically own shares of companies that conflict with your moral beliefs. Ave Maria mutual funds are managed to conform to pro-life and pro-family values. Long-term investors can invest in the no-load Ave Maria mutual funds. The experienced professional portfolio managers make decisions based on investment fundamentals and pro-life values. You can learn more about Ave Maria mutual funds today at 866-AVE-MARIA or visit AveMariaFunds.com.
Hello, Steve Ray here. We're going to Normandy, France in November to celebrate the 80th anniversary of D-Day. We'll also be in Paris for the opening of the resurrected Notre Dame Cathedral. Join us on a pilgrimage of discovery through the saints and shrines of France. Catherine Labourier and the Miraculous Medal, St. Therese of Lisieux, the incorrupt body of Vincent de Paul, a dinner cruise through Paris on the Seine River, and so much more.
Find the Ave Maria Radio travel tab at AveMariaRadio.net.
The wisdom of Mother Angelica.
You remember the time I said on the air, go to confession. And when you're done, go out and have a big ice cream soda. Celebrate. And a man wrote to me, he said, you know, I hadn't gone to confession in 30 years. Do you mind if I went and had a pizza? I said, oh, have 20 pizzas.
EWTN. Live truth. Live Catholic.
When your children consider going to college, where are you going to find a place that will prepare them for the future and build on the foundation that you've laid? The answer? Ave Maria University. With an authentically Catholic curriculum, including 35 majors, AMU prepares students to take on the world.
My daughter told me she was published in a scientific journal as an undergrad. I'm so proud of her. The world needs Catholic physicists, and my daughter's going to be one of them.
Learn more at avemaria.edu. That's avemaria.edu.
I used to be addicted. Yep, I use that word loosely, to the hokey pokey. But then I turned myself around. Scott, Fenton, Missouri. Hello, Scott.
Hey, Doc, how's it going?
Okay, sir. What do you mean by mental health issues?
So I just had some things I've kind of been burying through a career as a firefighter and struggles and stuff. Kind of came to a head over the last several days. And I turned to religion. And it's not really a question I have for you. It's more just like man, you gave me another sign that there's hope. I had about 4 or 5 signs from God yesterday. And, sorry, I don't have a question for you, but I wanted to know how much just turning on your show randomly. I've never listened to you before, but it was another sign for me.
Well, I'm glad, Scott, that it wasn't a sign where you were saying, I was starting to move toward religion, but then I listened to this guy, and now I'm drifting back the other direction.
No. It was through all this, I've always had a belief, I don't know, call it superficial or whatever. And then through my recent struggles, man, the one thing that helped me is people got to just look for signs. They're there. This was one of the first times, man, I really, really needed a sign from God, and He answered me. And so
did he
anybody listening out there,
yes, sir,
that's in this same boat, look to God. He's there for us.
Did he have to hit you upside the head with a 2x4?
Metaphorically, yeah, he did.
Well,
it's the best feeling I've ever had when it comes to that kind of stuff, getting hit with a 2x4.
If you want some input from a shrink, my experience has been when someone like yourself has experience like you had, and it moves you, be very careful that it doesn't fade away. It's easy to drift back to the way you were. Now is now's the first move. That's all. Now's just the first move. Now you got to find out what this God thing is all about. Read about it, study about it. Go to a couple places. I'll tell you what, you're a firefighter, probably a rational, logical guy. Go to a place called, on the internet, shroud.com. It will
Shroud.com.
It will give you powerful scientific evidence that shroud was actually the burial cloth of Christ.
Wow.
The most powerfully studied Shroud of Turin, absolutely. Overwhelming scientific evidence, hard to dispute. Take a look at it, and you'll go, you know what? This God thing, he's given us evidence. We just got to go get it.
It's there, man. I've been on the wrong side of the fence and just kind of, I've always felt He was there for me, but I expected Him to come to me, and you got to look. Anybody out there that's struggling, you got to look. He's there for you. It gets better. The feeling I had over the last 72 hours, I'm thankful that He's in my life again.
Scott, that's wonderful, but that feeling's going to fade now. Now you got to pray that He keeps you moving in the same direction as that enormous feeling starts to taper. You're going to realize that now I've got to turn my brain and my thinking and my will toward getting closer to God and Christ and to see what this is all about. If I would have asked you, Scott, say, a month ago, I say, Scott, are you an atheist? What would you have said?
I would have said, no, I believe in something. Not the classic atheist, just more like, I don't know if agnostic is the right word, or it was just more I needed a kick in the pants to really make that leap. And that's what I got.
Here's the thing, sir. You were an atheist, and here's why. Because for the most part, you acknowledged there was something out there, but you lived as though there wasn't. That's like you saying, well, yeah, I believe the sky is blue. Okay, well, what's that do to your life? Nothing. Well, I believe that the Philadelphia Eagles are a better football team than the Kansas City Chiefs. Well, what's that do to your life? Nothing. I believe there's a God. What's that do to your life? Nothing. So really, you were functioning as an atheist.
Right.
So God pulled you out of that, and now it's up to you with His grace to move forward and find out what's this all about here. And I guarantee you, my friend, that good feeling that you had now, this last 72 hours, 1 year from now, if you continue on the path, you're going to look back and you say, that was nothing compared to the peace I now have. Thanks for listening, buddy. Call me back anytime, all right?
Thanks, Doc. Appreciate it.
All right, sir. Take good care. That's a nice call, huh? Man, that's really cool. Oh, boy, some really good stuff up there. One real quick one from Dr. K. She has a joke about the hokey pokey for me. I told you the joke, Dr. K. That's the only joke I know.
Oh, well, actually, this is more of a story.
Okay.
And the hokey pokey can be traced back to an Irish songwriter named Jimmy Kennedy. And he originally wrote it in 1942 to entertain troops. And, of course, he's been long dead. But I did find out that there was mayhem at his visitation. Because
I know it's coming. Go ahead.
His devotees would go to the casket and put his right foot out and put his right foot in.
I knew it. I knew it was coming. It's like the old joke, Dr. K. What would you most like someone to say about you when you're in your casket? Some people say, well, I'd like him to say that I was a man who sought God. Another one would say, I'd like him to say I was a good father. And the third would say, I'd like him to say, look, he's moving.
That's right.
Thank you, dear. Thank you for
You're
kicking
certainly
in.
welcome, Dr.
All
Ray.
right. Bye.
Talk to you later.
Okay.
Bye for now.
Now, I got a call back here. Anonymous female calling back. She called about a month ago. 22-year-old son was having severe social anxiety, which, and by the way, I think it's coincidental. I just turned in half an hour ago to Molly Romano, who sits in the next office here at the studio. She is typing my book on anxiety, and I just turned in the chapter to her, I'm not making this up, on social anxiety. So, hopefully, our anonymous mom is, well, it says she's a pa. It says anonymous female, but then she's a pa. Oh, that's Pennsylvania. Sorry. Yes, ma'am. Thanks for the call.
Hello, Dr. Ray.
I'm hoping you're trying to tell me good news.
Well, no, I'm just calling back because we got cut off before, and I haven't had a chance to grab the phone when you're on and call until now.
I must not be that important to you. I must not be that important to you if it took you a month. You know, you're just like those girls in college. You see, I'll call you back, and they call me back in a month.
You sound like my son. He's always looking for reasons why nobody will call him or why he shouldn't go back to a job he had. And that's, why I just called last month and I called again, like, okay, now I have a chance to call. Like you asked me to call back and you were saying this is very important. Let's call back.
What do you think the core issue is with your son?
Well, I mean, a regular theme is like just thinking that people are talking about him in a negative way.
Yep, that's classic social anxiety.
While he's in the same room with them or on the same soccer team with them, made him quit soccer somewhere around 15, 16 years old after he loved it for like 5 years. It made him really uncomfortable going to the same classical school that he had gone to K through 8, somewhere around 9th grade. It just, a lot of things happened at that age when I wonder if some of it was, got teenage hormones a little bit, exasperating something.
Well, you're detailing
some trauma from the past. I don't know.
You are detailing some of the typical features of social anxiety. One is the onset is often in the teen years.
Yeah.
2, seems to be a temperament, a sensitive, oversensitive kind of temperament that was there from the get-go. Stay right there, my dear. Stay right there. We'll come back. You just seem to be getting interrupted. Don't hang up and call back in 4 months. Not this time around.
60 on 10 with Monsignor Charles Pope.
The eighth commandment. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. At one level, the reputation a person has is one of their most precious gifts, and to intentionally harm the good reputation of someone is a very grave matter. We can do this often through detraction by disclosing others' faults without a valid reason, or calumny, just outright lying about other people. Likewise, through rash judgment. This commandment also protects the truth, which is another very, very great good. To lie is to speak something that we know is false with the intention of deceiving others. We ought to be dedicated to the truth. It is the truth that sets people free, while errors and lies entrap people in many difficult and often sinful situations. The Lord asks us to give witness to the truth of the gospel. This commandment therefore asks us to stay dedicated to the truth and to other people's reputation. The eighth commandment, you shall not bear false witness against your neighbor.
For more about the 10 Commandments, visit EWTNRC.com.
What do we mean when we say the church is the body of Christ? From the very beginning, Jesus shared with his apostles his mission, his joys and sufferings, and the mystery of the kingdom. The Catholic Catechism points out that Jesus indicated the intimacy of his union with his followers when he said, I am the vine, you are the branches. Abide in me, and I in you. When Jesus' visible presence was taken away from the apostles, they were not orphaned. Jesus sent them his Spirit. As a result, says the Catechism, communion with Christ is even more intense. Jesus mystically constitutes as his body all those brethren called together from every nation. The church is not only gathered around Christ, she is united in him, in his body. This is Peggy Stanton, and this has been the Order of Malta's Minute with the Catechism.
I am talking to a mom who was rudely interrupted 3.5 weeks ago, and I forget why, probably the end of the show. Then she was rudely interrupted because of the break, hard break. But her son's 22 years old, and he is showing all the classical signs of a case of social anxiety. He is hypersensitive to what people might be thinking about him, negatively, almost always negatively in a group. So he's retreating. He's avoiding those activities. Started roughly in his teen years, which is a typical onset. And his temperament seemed to incline him toward a little more insecurity in new and unfamiliar social situations. Mom, you still there?
Yes.
Did I summarize that, or did I summarize that?
You did.
Thank you. So is he at home now with you?
He is. Yep. Just turned 22.
Is he venturing out to a job? Is he doing something?
He did for a solid year, and he actually was doing, in a way, a lot better because he had a goal of applying to a small college, a classical Catholic college that he had friends at, and he was trying to get his ducks in a row for that. This time last year, he was working about 30, 35 hours a week in order to leave time to try to study for entrance exam for that. And
what made him leave the job? What made him leave the job, Mom?
He didn't get accepted. In August, he found out he wasn't accepted at this college.
So he quit the job?
He just felt, So, yeah.
So
that's his logic.
Uh-huh.
I was going to go away to college if that got accepted. And
so I'm going to assume that
didn't happen. So
this young man,
just feel like, I don't know what.
Okay, I'm going to assume that this young man is living at home and right now kind of drifting.
Yeah.
Well, do you think that's a bigger problem than his social anxiety?
What do you mean? A different description of the living at home being a problem?
Yeah. In other words, he doesn't seem to want to launch, and his view is, I'm too insecure to take a chance on doing anything that would require adult responsibility.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, gotcha. So what are you going to do about it?
Well, priest, counsel, a therapist who he is willing to see and has been seeing loosely for about 5-6 months will say consequences must be in place. And we
the
definitely
therapist says that.
Have a, yeah.
Okay.
I have a pretty strong idea about what consequences I've been muttering about when it's just between my husband and I. We both procrastinate because of the constant moodiness of this young person.
You're afraid.
A little bit of, that he has been known to be so despairing that we're not sure if he's self-harm possibilities.
Okay, a couple of things. If you can get your son to give you permission to talk to his therapist, go in, talk with the therapist, and tell the therapist your reluctancies, what they're all about. See what the therapist has to say about this. Okay, I'm not going to weigh in because your son has seen someone. See what the therapist has to say. And then see what, in fact, the future's likely to hold if you say to yourself, I'm afraid of his moodiness, and therefore I'm going to allow him to stay at home and drift, which I think your therapist is probably saying that's not a good thing, which I'm glad to hear that from a therapist.
Yes.
Okay, so that's what you need to do. If you called me and said, well, what can I do to make him not be socially anxious? A lot of it's coming down to he has to change his thinking. His thinking is people are judging me, people are critiquing me, they're looking for my flaws, and I can't take it, and I dwell on it, and it makes me insecure, and I have to run and escape and retreat from it because the anxiety gets too bad, and I just can't deal with it. And that's what's going through his head. And a good therapist is going to hopefully challenge that and take it all apart so that he recognizes that the anxiety that he's experiencing is his own creation by bad thinking. Yeah. And until he gets to that point, until he says to you, hey, Mom, I realize what I'm doing to myself here. But at this point, I don't think he's saying that because it doesn't sound like you're saying he's saying that. It sounds like he's just saying, well, what do you expect me to do?
He sees it. Crippling social anxiety. I have crippling social anxiety. He owns it. And he hates this about himself, and he wants to change. He has his own little idea of, I'm going to try to go to a certain young adult group, for instance, that he often, and I want to go my way, my pace. And he'll the last 3 or 4 months, he's every Wednesday is this Catholic young adult group. He'll borrow a car and he'll go, and he's told us when he comes home, I couldn't get out of the car. I just didn't.
Yes, he could. Yes, he could. He told himself he couldn't get out of the car because he was so afraid of the anxiety. Mm-hmm. But the anxiety wasn't going to hurt him. It wasn't going to do anything to him other than to make him be in a state of arousal. So he's still not understanding his anxiety. But here's the other thing. I'm going to leave you with this.
He did get out and go.
I got to leave you with this, dear.
Go one time.
Okay, good. I'm going to leave you with this because I'm going to bump up against a heartbreak.
Yep.
You're saying, okay, he wants to go at his own pace. The question becomes, is his pace going to be coincidental with your pace? In other words, a year from now, if he's still at his pace, is that going to be your pace? I mean, that's where I think those two lines are going to cross at some point. So go in and talk with his therapist. Maybe you can get reassured about how to deal with this, and I would expect that his therapist has explained many, many times over what his anxiety is, and it's nothing to be feared. So thank you for the call, dear. I got to run. Going to break here in a minute.
God bless you. Thank you, Dr. Ray.
Thank you, dear. This is Dr. Ray. I tell you, anxiety is so misunderstood. It is so pervasive. It is crippling for so many people. And what it does is people are afraid of feeling afraid. That's what it comes down to. They are afraid of feeling afraid. And so when they have the experience, their attitude is, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to experience this. So therefore. Now, I want to say something here that I got to find it real quick because my boss over at EWTN sent it to me, and I don't want to ignore it. There it is. Now, that's the live tease. I don't want the live tease. I want to welcome somebody that we have here. There we go. This is it. Nice, wonderful folks here. We got to congratulate. This is congratulations to a great EWTN radio partner, His Mercy Radio. They're in Grants Pass, Oregon. 10 years with EWTN. Congratulations, Connie Murphy, and all your team there at KJCR. From all of us here, EWTN. Thanks, Connie.
Catholic Connection with Teresa Tomeo.
No one sees a face of abortion, in particular, because it's hidden by semantics, it's hidden by words, it's hidden by phrases, and these grandiose claims of, it's all about reproductive rights and the women, and women shouldn't be, forced to carry a baby to term, especially if they were victims of rape or incest. So you put all of these ideas in people's heads that this is all about the good of a woman, but not looking at the people involved, the baby, and of course, for example, a woman who we know from research, Dr. David Reardon was doing a lot of research on this area, that women who do conceive through rape and carry the baby to term and either keep the child or place it up for adoption are much better off mentally. Mental health, they can deal with that, they can heal much more quickly because two wrongs definitely don't make a right.
Catholic Connections, Teresa Tomeo. Weekdays, 9 a.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio.
Christ is the answer with Father John Riccardo.
John 6, verses 48 to 58. Jesus says, I am the bread of life. Your fathers ate the manna in the wilderness, and they died. This is the bread, meaning me. This is the bread which comes down from heaven, that a man may eat of it and never die. I am the living bread which came down from heaven. If anyone eats of this bread, he will live forever. And the bread which I shall give for the life of the world is my flesh. At which the Jews disputed among themselves, saying, how can this man give us his flesh to eat? They're scandalized by this. How is it that we're not? How is it that we just hear this and go, oh yeah, I know that passage? They're just outraged and at least perplexed. Sane people, inspired teachers, wise men, prophets don't say things like this.
Thanks for joining me here. A little relaxing music. It's Dr. Ray Guarendi. Mary Beth calling from Ohio, down by the river, Marietta, Ohio. Used to play softball tournaments down there. We always used to say, remember Marietta. And we used that as our battle cry because we were up by 10 or 12 or 15 runs and we lost. So anytime after that, when we were up by 10 or 15 runs, we never took it easy. We said, remember Marietta. Hello, Mary Beth.
Hi there. How are you? I consider you a friend.
Thanks. Thank you, dear.
You're welcome. Well, this is kind of a Mary Beth of Marietta musing, and I thought the first thing I might mention, I was thinking it's kind of relevant to what you just said. Remember Marietta? Is that how it went? I'm starting to worry about you, Dr. Ray. You're changing possibly too much. You are not even in the running for the Humility Award. If you're flying jet setting to Florida again this early in the year.
Mary Beth, I have not even competed for the last 2 years. And the reason I didn't, and I'm going to make a comeback, the reason I didn't is because I really suspected there was some corruption among the judges, that they didn't vote for me when they should have, because I gave them all kinds. Yes, I gave them all kinds of evidence of how humble I was. I pointed it out to them, all the ways that I was humble, and they didn't agree. So I said, okay, fine. Somebody's messing with these judges. I can't prove it. I think it's Teresa Tomeo, maybe Raymond Arroyo. I don't know. They've always been jealous of my humility. So we're clearing out some of those judges, and I'm going to make a comeback. Just wanted to tell you that.
Actually, you're on the right trail because I do know for a fact both of them are in cahoots on this. But you just made my day because, see, I was worried that you didn't care. Now I know you still care. So that makes me feel better. Okay. I thought you just didn't care that you weren't in the running anymore.
No. I was just taking a hiatus. Okay. That's all. Yeah.
You do care. Okay, good. That's good. Yes. Okay. Now I'm not worried anymore. Okay. Your soul is good. Everything's good. Like I'm a judge of your soul. I'm sorry. Okay. The other thing I was going to say, amusing, M-U-S-I-N-G. I think everyone should take one moment, everyone that loves you, loves your show, loves EWTN. Your phone is probably inches away from your hand. Everyone pick it up and put the call number in the contacts right now, Dr. Ray, EWTN, call-in number. So that when the Spirit moves you, and it will, especially after this call, everyone's spirit is going to be moved, and you're going to have trouble with your call screamer from now
Mary
on.
Beth,
anyway,
Mary Beth, you know the problem with what you just said? You set me up. Well, first of all, I've been at this business long enough to know.
Oh, you know more. Okay.
Yeah,
right.
You generally don't get overwhelmed with stuff like that, and what's going to happen is probably maybe one person is going to do that. And I'm going to think to myself, okay, well, Mary Beth made a push for this, and nothing happened. It shows you where I stand. So I'm hoping my wife's listening.
Everyone to mention if they did. Everyone should mention if you're wrong.
I call my wife. I call my wife for advice, and she says the same thing every time. Do you know what she says?
What?
How did you get this number? Yeah. So, Mary Beth, I got to run.
Your wife? Oh, I'm sorry. Your wife was mentioned twice on the radio the other day, where people were crediting her for good advice she gave. One point was from Johnette. She said that Randy said that, like, if you were out of town traveling and she really had to step it up with the discipline, she was told to lower her voice. Randy did, and it really helped with authority.
Oh, she was taking male hormones. She was taking male hormones, I think, during that time. Yeah, her bench went up 100 pounds. Yeah. I enjoyed my visit with you when we came down to do the talk, Mary Beth. And tell Kenny Baker was one of the best bass players I ever played with. If you see him, tell him I miss him, and in my mind, he's still 28 years old.
Aw, that's so nice. He thought you were young, too. You are coming down soon. You just didn't know it. A much bigger venue. Okay.
I got it. Thank you, dear.
All right.
All right.
Bye-bye. God bless.
Bye. Thanks. Oh, I do remember Marietta. Yeah, we lost a big game. It was a tournament game. Johnette, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I better pronounce correctly. Hi, Johnette. How are you? You getting ripped off?
I'm good. It's Janet. Is that who you're talking to?
Oh, okay. That's just Eric. He spelled it Janette. Eric.
Okay. Call me whatever you want. Just call me.
I hate when Ernie does that. Okay, so you're getting ripped off, I take it, huh?
Well, yeah, small amounts, but it's been going on for a while, I think. And
now it's big amounts because it was small, but you total them up, it's big.
It's not really big. I mean, it's $20 here and there, which does add up over time. It's just the fact that it's continuing, and he's not a young boy anymore, you know. And
he's got to be living with you to do that, isn't he?
No, he's not living with us, but he comes to visit often. His wife left him recently, which was very devastating to him. He actually wrote a little suicide note to his 3-year-old because he just didn't want to go on with life, which was really terrible. He did get some help for that. He's also had anxiety his whole life. So
why does he think he can take $20 from you, and why, when you've confronted him with this, has he continued to do it?
I don't know that I've confronted him just one-on-one. I've got 5 kids, so I ask all of them, did somebody, borrow some money from me? Did somebody take some money? And it's always been nobody knows what happened to it. And I've suspected it, but I've never known for sure, but I'm pretty sure now that it is gone.
Does
I would hate
it happen immediately after his visit? You know it's gone?
Well, it happens sometimes when he's here. He'll even go in my car and get it out of my wallet or whatever. He's done it to my husband also, and he's definitely afraid to say anything.
Why is he afraid to say anything? Why is he afraid to say anything?
A long story, and I won't go into it, but he's never really helped with disciplining the kids at all. He wanted to be their friends. He was their coach, but he never helped with the serious stuff. He didn't want to deal with that, so it was always left to me. And I did my best, but I know I didn't do enough. I didn't have the courage to do what I needed to do a number of times. I'm sure of that.
So now you still got a 30-year-old misbehaving.
And now this, and I love him with all my heart. I'm so. I don't want to throw him over the,
Well, let's do it logistically here then. If your husband's not willing because he's feeling I don't want to rock any boats, if you're not willing because you're afraid of your son's emotional
I will do it though
state.
because it has to be done. Yeah.
Well, here's the easiest way to do it. All money is locked up and unavailable when he visits. You keep your wallet with you.
I do that pretty much myself now, but still, don't we need to confront him so it stops?
Well, you can confront him, but the first thing you do is you stop the $20, $50 from disappearing.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. And given that it's happened all this time, my question here, Janet, is why haven't you done that up to now?
I don't know. I guess fear. Probably fear. And not being certain, not being really positive that it was, because I would hate to accuse him of something that...
No. I don't mean confront him. I mean make the money unavailable so that he can't...
Well, I started to do that myself for sure. So mine is hidden. My husband's has been available. So he hasn't taken anything from me in quite a while. But my husband mentioned to me recently, did you take money from me? And I said no. And he said, well, I'm missing some money. And I mentioned to him what I was thinking could have been. And, he said, yeah. That might be. And I said, you need to talk to him about it.
Okay.
But he won't do it. He's shied away from stuff the whole time.
Right. You're not going to change him now. So if you want to talk to your son, go ahead. I suspect he'll deny it completely.
And I suspect he will too. And I don't want to ruin our relationship. Wait
a minute. He's kind of ruining your relationship.
Well, that's true.
Stealing from your mom. I don't want to ruin our relationship. We got this relationship where he steals from me. What you're saying is not that I don't want to ruin our relationship. I don't want to add to any of the emotional struggles he's been having. That's really what you're saying.
That's pretty true. Yeah, that's pretty true, yeah.
So at this point, you got to make a decision. I can't tell you what to do. But you make that decision and recognize two things are probably going to happen. One, he's going to deny it. And two, he's going to act very hurt. How could you think that of me?
Sure.
Just brace yourself. Know that if you do confront him.
You gave me the courage to even call you today because you were talking about your own situation with your son. And I wish I had your courage. And I wish I had done it when I was young.
And you know what gave me the courage, Janet? I'll tell you what it is, and I'm going to say it to every parent out there.
Because it's so
because
very
it's for the good. Yes, it is for the good of the person. It has nothing to do with how I feel about having to do it. I don't want to discipline my kids. I hated disciplining my kids. But I knew I had to because I didn't want the world to beat them up. All right, Janet, I got to run. I'm going to get yelled at from my producer because I'm way past break. God bless you, honey. Good luck. It's Dr. Ray.
This program brought to you in part by Ave Maria, Florida, a big kind of small town where golf carts take you everywhere and there's always something fun around the corner. Discover championship golf, resort-style amenities, and a town center full of shopping and dining. With Ave Maria University and Ave Maria Catholic Church at its heart, it's a community full of connection and charm. More than 25 model homes are available for viewing. More information can be found at AveMaria.com. That's AveMaria.com.
Maybe you've been hearing a lot about the need to make a spiritual communion while participating from home in a live-streamed or broadcast Mass. Maybe you've even prayed the prayer of spiritual communion. Spiritual communion is a concept that goes all the way back to the 4th century. It flourished in the Eastern Church and gradually moved west. Spiritual communion stresses the transcendence of God, where we unite our desires, intentions, and loves with the holy sacrifice of the Mass and the consecration of the Eucharist at the altar. Jesus, I embrace you and unite myself wholly to you.
Italy aficionado Teresa Tomio's newest book is now out on the Ave Maria online store. In Italy's Shrines and Wonders, Teresa Tomio provides how best to navigate the most popular sites, best routes, and how to best to soak in all the beauty Italy has to offer. She also shares the most inspiring journeys to make your Italy excursion utterly unforgettable. Italy's Shrines and Wonders from Catholic Connections' Teresa Tomeo can be purchased at AveMariaRadio.net.
Underwritten in part by the following nonprofit.
Are you paying high prices with a traditional health insurance company that pays for things that violate your conscience? There's an alternative available. Solidarity HealthShare is a community of faithful individuals and families that never share into immoral medical services, all while saving you money with prices starting as low as $85 per month for singles and $512 for families. Never fund another abortion with your healthcare dollars. Call 844-313-4999 to learn more.
I'd like to apologize to anybody still going to be left on the line while the show ends. Please call back. You will be the first up. I promise that. We've got some very, very comments on previous calls that are very, very helpful. And I hate to pass those by, but Jen from New Jersey has a anxiety problem. Hi, Jen.
Hi, Dr. Ray. I'm so excited to be talking to you. I think you're so great.
I am so excited to be listening to you.
I may have, rephrased my question a little wrong. The situation is, I have ADHD. I was diagnosed with ADHD a while back. And I do also have some anxiety. And I heard you one time talk about your panic attacks. I used to have panic attacks too, and I
never had. I had one panic attack, but wasn't really a panic attack. But you're right. Sorry to interrupt you. Okay.
Okay, no, that's okay. That's okay. I did overcome that years ago through cognitive behavioral therapy. But I guess my question is, I am currently out of work, and I can't be out of work too long. I'm on unemployment. I really need a job. And I just have major trouble getting motivated to apply for jobs. I feel discouraged before I even try. And I'm not sure whether it's the anxiety of it or the ADHD. And I'm also, I'm a devout Catholic, which is why I'm turning to you. But I was just wondering if you could give me any insight on this.
Yeah, my guess would be it's not the ADHD, and my guess would be it's not the anxiety. My guess would be it's that you're just afraid that you're going to be rejected, that you're going to put out 27 applications and you're going to go 0 for 27. And you're going to think, what's wrong with me? What is it that these people don't want to hire me? That's what it is. So, given that, Jen, I'm going to give you a very high-powered psychological suggestion. I'm trained to do this. Don't try doing this on your own. You could hurt yourself. This is something that is years of training and years of experience. So, when you are going to apply for these jobs and you don't feel like it, you don't want to do it, you're not motivated to do it. You ready?
Yeah.
You might want to write this down because this is very powerful therapeutic stuff.
Okay.
Do it anyway. You know what you're doing? You're waiting till you feel like it. That's crazy. You can't wait till you feel like doing something good. You've got to just do it. I don't feel like lifting weights. Ever since I got to be about 40 years old, I don't feel like lifting weights. But I know it's good for me, so I do it anyway.
Wow. Okay. Is that something I should say to myself in my head? Like, do it anyway? Just do it?
Just do it. It's a numbers game, Jen. My son called us. He had just gotten out of the service, and he called us, and he was getting really frustrated. He said, I put out 100 applications, and I'm over.
Mm-hmm.
101, he got a job. A nice job, too.
Wow.
So it's a numbers game. You just got to keep doing it until somebody somewhere says, oh, this is a fit for us, or, oh, yeah, we're looking for somebody, or, oh, yeah, I like what that says on her resume. It has nothing to do with you. They've got their own needs, and you may not fit them. So get rid of this whole idea that, oh, somehow I'm a failure if I put out a job application and nobody hires me. Has nothing to do with it.
Okay.
And God isn't going to go, you know, Jen, why I'm not letting you into heaven? Because you had 22 job applications and you didn't get accepted. So really, heaven's gate's closed to you there, Jen. Has nothing to do with it. Has nothing to do with anything.
All right. Thank you. I just needed to hear that. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You are welcome, my dear. God bless you. Good luck, and call me when you get a job.
All right, I will.
All right. Thanks,
Dr.
honey.
Ray.
Bye, honey. Okay, I got to run. As I said, you're on the phone. Please, I thank you for your patience, and you call back, and you will be first up, and we will trust you when you tell us you were on the phone. Thank you for joining me. Appreciate it very much. Thanks, Andrew. Thanks, Eric. Walk with God. And our firefighter is walking with him again.
For information on Dr. Ray's presentations, books, and CDs, visit drray.com and follow him on Facebook and Instagram. The Doctor Is In is a co-production of Ave Maria Radio and EWTN Radio and carried across the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.